Hi, this is Chanbormey, Amelia Sothea. Chanbormey, when did you come to England? Did you remember?
I think I was 4 years old when I came.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was...
Did you remember much at all?
I actually do remember some of it.
Uh-huh.
I remember just, I think there's a change in weather,
Uh-huh.
yes,
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that. And I do remember some, obviously not everything.
Mm-hmm. Did you remember a lot of life here a lot more busier than in Cambodia?
I don't know, because in Cambodia I was still quite young,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't really have to do anything. When I came here I was still young, so it wasn't like I had to work or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, it's probably easier here, especially like school and stuff. It's more enjoyable than in Cambodia.
Why was that the
I
reason?
think it's because here, when I was younger, like you could do art and things like that,
Uh-huh.
and the teachers were just a lot nicer, and the classes were smaller, and it was just like a more comfortable setting. Like in Cambodia, it didn't matter what year you were in, you always had like a class with like all these wooden desks and chairs and things,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always like 60 students in one class, and you just learned from like books and just wrote things. But here it's like, especially when you were younger, you could like, you know, make things and create things, and it was just more fun, and then it was just a nicer environment to be in, I guess.
I guess because of here they have all the facility.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And did you do any art at all then when you were in Cambodia?
I don't really remember, but maybe it's because I was in the lower years,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't really, I didn't, because I think I went to school when I was like 3 or 4,
Mm.
so there's not much they could teach you really. But even if we did do art, it wouldn't have been the same as here, because in England there's just lots of supplies and stuff in school,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, there's just more to do here.
So did you when you obviously when you go to school here, you do your packed lunch, and the hours also in Cambodia and here, are they sort of similar hours you go to school, or is it quite a
I
different
think in
time?
Cambodia it's not a lot, but it's shorter,
Mm-hmm.
because they have to fit in, I think they fit in quite a lot of students in one school, because you were either in school in the mornings or the afternoons,
Mm-hmm.
whereas here you're in school like all day, so 6 hours always. So yeah, it's longer here than in Cambodia, I think.
Did you have to do your own packed lunch as well in Cambodia? Or no?
Yeah. In Cambodia, I think there were like food stalls
Mm-hmm.
and things, but I don't think you were in school long enough to get hungry for like an actual meal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here you'd have to have like a proper lunch. So I guess, yeah, but you definitely had like snacks and things
Mm-hmm.
in both.
Did you remember that whether you like the food here instantly when you go to school in England, or you feel quite different, that you said, oh, this just tastes different, or I don't like that?
I don't know, because I think I did like the food.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know a lot of Cambodians, they're just so used to Asian food and Cambodian food.
Mm.
They don't really like Western or any other cultural foods, but I think I liked it straight away, which is good, because it made like adjusting to living here a lot easier. But I'd eat Cambodian food at home and then eat English food at school, so I'd like both. So it was easy for me. So.
Did you find it's hard when you were at school, because although you were very young, but because you didn't speak the language? Because I remember that your mum even told me when some of your teacher, they were quite worried because you were so quiet. The reason of being you were quiet at the time, do you think is it because of just you being you, or any other reason?
I just think it was me being me, because I I don't really remember a time where I couldn't speak English
Uh-huh.
because I think in Cambodia even I was already learning how to speak it, and I came here so young. So I think I was always more comfortable with English than Khmer almost. But me being quiet, I think that's just me. I think when I get into like a new place with like new people, it takes me a while to like adjust to it, and I just think unless I'm in a place where I'm like comfortable or with around people I'm comfortable, I prefer to stay quiet rather than always speak. So yeah, I think that's just me.
Do you think is it because based from that you've been brought up into Cambodian society, or it's not the case?
I'm not sure because I think a lot of Cambodians speak too much. I think. So I don't think that's it. I think, no, I don't know. It's just a personality thing. I think. I mean, I can talk. It's sometimes that I think if you talk too much, it's sort of like you forget to think about what you're saying. And I prefer to have, I think, when, especially around people who aren't like necessarily friends or family or something, I prefer to just think before I say things.
Because when you went back to Cambodia after you've been here the first time, and you be able to write some Khmer, and then when you went back you forgot all of it.
Yeah.
Or some of it, not all of it, but did you find how frustrating it was?
It was. I think I would really like if I had remembered, because I did know how to write and read, I think fluently, and it would be nice to have 2 languages that I'm like completely fluent in, English and Khmer. But I do regret forgetting it, but I think it's quite a difficult language. So, but yeah, I did forget, but maybe because I just was not writing or reading anything that was Khmer. So
I know you mentioned that when you come from Cambodia the first time, you went to school here, and you probably fit in quite well. It wasn't any problem. But then, when you went back home after you've been here for 2 years, and you forgot some of the Khmer language, did you find it when you go back it's harder to cope with in Cambodian school than here? Did you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I guess so. But it was hard, but it wasn't like really hard, because I had been to both Cambodian and English schools, so I just knew how things were. But yeah, I mean, because I was still so like young, so the education either way, it wasn't going to be like tough or anything. So it was just learning the core things. So I guess it's the same. So.
And you must be very pleased when you heard you'd be able to come back here again.
Yeah, I guess I really didn't know what was going on at the time though. It's like the whole time.
You were too young.
Because I was young, so it was like, oh, we're moving here one day, and the next day we're moving back and moving. So I wasn't really sure what was going on, and I wasn't as attached to England at that time as I am now. So it wasn't. I was happy. I think I was happy that I was coming back, but obviously, I would miss my family because they were all in Cambodia, and obviously my dad and stuff. So it was sort of like balanced, happy, sort of not happy about it. But now I'm glad that I came back.
So do you contact with your a relative and cousin quite a lot these days through Facebook?
Not as much.
Like that?
I think the reason I don't as much compared to my mum or my sister, I think it's just because when I left them I was so young that I didn't have a chance to make that sort of bond with them, that I don't know, because I'm still quite young and I still don't do, I don't know, grown-up things, like calling up your relatives to talk to them or things like that. So I'm not really used to it, and I don't really know how to be in constant, comfortable communication with them. But I still think of them as my family, and when I do see them, it's not awkward or anything like that. It's just I don't really know how to stay in close contact with them.
Yeah, as you said, you know, we you know, as a society, we are very close family in general. But now you've been brought up in this country, and do you think you see your uncle or grandmother as often you should have done?
Maybe not. I don't know. Because I think it's changing now. Because I think now it's like I'm making the transition into being more grown up. So, and I have to figure out how to do that, because before I was a child. So whether I see family or not, that's not up to me. That's up to my family and you know, the grown-ups arranging it all. But I guess now, when I become more independent, I need to make the effort in order to stay in contact with everyone. So yeah.
Do you find it quite hard? Because I know, for example, my mum, which is your grandmother, she's still very much like how she used to be in Cambodia. Because of the language barrier. She came here when she's in her 60s already. It's very hard for her to change. But I think she adapted very well. Do you find it's very difficult to sort of, when you go and see her, communicate with her?
Yeah, that's also the thing with, because as I grow up and as I become more adapted to life in England, I become less familiar with Cambodian culture, and that's why it's more difficult, I guess, to talk to like my gran or my uncles and aunties and cousins in Cambodia, because the societies are completely separate, and I'm so used to living here, and it's when I talk to my friends and my mum and my sister and stuff, it's easier because they know, like, I don't know, things on TV, things in the news, things that are happening. It's what I talk about. I think that's what makes a conversation. Things that are currently happening or that you're aware of. I can't mention things on the news or in England to people in Cambodia because they probably won't be in the know about it. So I don't really know a subject that I can talk about to them. So that's really... And obviously the language barrier. I'm more comfortable talking English, and I know most of my family in Cambodia, they are more comfortable talking Khmer, and I think that's what makes it complicated.
What do you tend to talk about when you go and visit home to see your cousins and aunties, or particularly your cousin at the sort of the same age? Would you talk a lot of things in common, or you find it's completely different?
I don't know. I mean, we talk about, I think, with like my cousin who's like close with in terms of age to us. I think it's just things, maybe, I don't know, music or something, or her friend group, or her and her boyfriend or something like that. And then she asks, or, like, I think they're quite curious about England, so they ask about England, and then I'll just talk about that, and then we talk about our family and whatever's happening at the time. So yeah, stuff like that.
Are you as curious as them about Cambodian society over there?
I don't think it's not that I'm not interested, but I feel like whatever I ask them, I kind of already know, because I have lived in Cambodia as a Cambodian person, so whereas they've never lived in England as an English person, so I do know a lot about Cambodian culture. So it's not like asking them would give me greater insight. I think but I am interested. It's just they're more interested, I think, in England than I am about their life in Cambodia.
Do you talk at home? Do you speak in English all the time to your mum?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think just because it's just me and my mum, it's sort of, I don't know, and she understands everything. So it's just easier. If I go to school, all I do is speak English. I come here and I speak English. It's just easier rather than having to transition all the time. And I'm just so used to it now, so.
But I have noticed that your mum seems to reply everything back to you in Khmer.
Yeah.
Is that because of something that she's very, very comfortable with, I guess?
Yeah, I guess. But sometimes I think I'm glad because then that makes me remember Cambodian because I wouldn't want to forget it. I mean, it's bad enough that I've forgotten how to read and write. I forgot how to speak it and understand it. That makes it worse, and I'd have to really do something about it if that happens.
What do you think of your mum being here? Do you think she's doing well and being happy living in the UK?
I think she is. I think she's fine. But I think in Cambodia, she's just more used to it, and she has a lot more people there in terms of friends and family. And I don't know, she's just more comfortable like going out and things like that. Whereas here, she's more just into working and then coming home and looking after me. So I would prefer if she cared more about having a social life. But she says she's fine, so it's not in my control. And I think she's just happy to have me and my sister here, close to her. So if that's what makes her happy, then that's up to her.
One thing I have noticed about you, since you were very little, you always like to, make yourself look good. It's a very girly sort of thing that you're always interested in. What do you think that, because in Cambodia, if someone put a little bit of makeup on because of their age, then they instantly almost being judged. Here, it's a very, very different story. What do you think? What is your view about this kind of opinion?
I just think Cambodia is quite underdeveloped. And I think the problem is, while I think most cases in Cambodia, it's like every day, it's sort of the aim is to make a living and put food on the table and things like that. So I guess surviving sort of becomes more important than things like makeup and looking good or celebrity life or something like that. So I guess there's that, but I also think if you're living a life without something that's sort of, you could say it's unnecessary, but it's fun, sort of like, it's not like compulsory for me to do my makeup and have nice clothes, but it's something that makes me feel good and nice. So I think that's what makes life sort of good in a way. So I think just different societies have different views, and there are people in Cambodia who do want to look their best and things, but it's really up to the person, and I don't think they should be judged in however old they are or in what country they live in.
So are you now your final year at school before you go to college? What are you interested? What subject are you seem to be interested the most?
I think I'm interested in English because I've always had like the ability to write well, and I've always enjoyed reading and literature. So, and I think I'm interested in art as like a broad thing, but writing is an art form, and because I can't sing or dance or draw or something well, I think writing is my artistic ability, so that's why I enjoy it, I guess.
But you did drama and you do acting.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm awful at any other things. It's just I think writing is where I'm best at. So I think I like being best at things. So that's why I like it.
You enjoy it when you do any performance?
I think drama. I think now I'm a bit more realistic, and it's like I'm not going to be some Hollywood actress, even though deep down there's a little bit that's like maybe one day. But I think I'm more. It's just something that I do. I think I like it because it gives me a lot of confidence and satisfaction when I'm performing, especially when the audience is engaged. If I do a comedy piece and they laugh, it makes me want to do more, and it really gives me a lot of confidence. I think like when I perform well, it just good confidence boost. So yeah.
So are you at the moment, have you got this in mind when you go to college, what do you want to do from there on, what sort of thing you like to do?
I've chosen my subjects, which are English literature, law, sociology and modern history. And I think they're just subjects that I'm interested in, and they do seem to go well together. And I think when I get there and I take the subjects, I'll think about what happens after, depending on what I enjoy there.
I know probably perhaps it's a bit too early to ask, so where would you be like working and live, for example, in the future?
I think I'd like to stay in England, because English accent is the only accent I can really tolerate for a long period of time. But also I think England is a good place to be. I really like English culture, and I think I'm comfortable with it. And yeah, I'd like to live in England, and I'd like just a nice lifestyle, sort of with a good job and things like that.
You know, when it's occasion, I think probably 2 or 3 times a year, a special occasion to go to the temple with the family. You went with us quite some time in the past, but recently you seem to be, you're not interested in that kind of event anymore. Is it because of something that you're just not into it?
I'm not sure, because in Cambodia, I think in England, the Cambodian sort of community, it's quite small, and it's not as prominent, and it's not as like rich as the culture, the actual Cambodian culture in Cambodia. And I think of myself as a Buddhist, and I'd still like to go to temples and things like that, but I don't see many opportunities to do so in England. So that's really it. If Buddhism was as prominent here as something like Christianity, or something where it's just easier to practice it, then I'd be very interested. But I haven't really, there's not really a temple everywhere you go, so it's sort of, that's what makes it quite hard to do, I guess.
Have you ever thought or wanted to make an effort, meet other Cambodian people at your sort of age, or you're not really that bothered?
I don't know, because I have met Cambodian people my age, and it's not because they're Cambodian, it's just because they're themselves as people in general. I've not been interested in keeping in contact with, and I don't think it matters that much whether someone's Cambodian or not. And I'm just I'm interested in meeting people, but it's sort of, if I am interested in them and I think they can hold a good conversation or something like that, then I'll try and befriend them or something. But in terms of wanting a Cambodian friend, it's not really a need. I think if I do happen to find a Cambodian person my age that is interesting and I'd like to be friends with, that's great, but I'm not going to go really looking for one.
What do you think when you go to the Cambodian New Year party, for example, as a society there, the whole event, do you like it?
I don't know, because it's not as, I don't think it's as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice to gather people together, but as an event it's not as well organised, or it doesn't really promote Cambodia in the most in the best way. It's because I think we just go there and it's dancing and it's eating food, things like that, and then we go home rather than actual. But I think it's hard because obviously things like Cambodian art, Cambodian performers, Cambodian musicians, all the good ones, they're in Cambodia, so it'll be hard to get them here. So I guess that's why it's difficult to make it as close to the actual Cambodian society in Cambodia. So I guess, yeah.
Would you have liked to see performance, particularly in a sort of more contemporary dance, rather than we have our old tradition dance and singing all the time when you're there? Because also myself, I do find that it should be more, but they seem to be having this all the time, every year.
Yeah, I do think, probably if it's the same every year, it doesn't matter how good something is, people will get bored.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with the old traditional stuff, but I think maybe to adapt it or to improve it in some way to make it a little bit more different every time people go, people will be more interested.
Mm-hmm. What would you like to see personally if you go, and what we think you're like, what like to see it happen?
I do like Cambodian dancing, like the traditional things, but I don't think they're as well done as I've seen. So, like when I go to Cambodia and I go to places when they do perform, I think it's really well done and the dancers are really talented and it just looks really good, whereas here it's not as well choreographed or something. So I think a more polished and intricate version of the traditional dances that we do see, that would be good.
Have you ever seen Cambodian contemporary dance?
I don't think I have, so I'm not really, I don't know. So
Would you like to? Because when you go to Cambodia next time, there are now they're quite particularly, it's quite a lot of contemporary Cambodian dance.
Yeah, I think as I get older, and when I visit Cambodia, I'd like to see a lot more than what I have seen. Because before it's just been seeing family, but I think maybe now my interest in sort of the country I come from it intensifies as I get older, so I'll probably try and see as much of it as I can.
What do your hobby, or when you spare time, what do you do with your friends or to keep yourself busy?
I mean, I try, like I go out to see my friends. I have friends over. Sometimes I like to write and read if I feel creative, or obviously there's watching TV and things like that. I go to the gym sometimes, and I do stay after school to do clubs and things like that. So yeah.
Is there any other thing that you like to talk about?
What made you want to do this piece for your artwork?
The idea is obviously we want to promote our culture to a wider audience, and in general, for people to understand us better, and also to it's a migration experience, isn't it, from one country to another. It's very important for people to share what they have been through, and to see the whole picture of the migration is about. It's not only particular in Cambodia. I think any other country who come, or other nation who come to live in the UK, they must have been through, and they have the purpose to come here. So I think it's very important. That's why I interview any one of you. I find it's very, very interesting, and all of you are very, very different. Although we come from the same country, we all have different stories to tell. What we've been through. I think it is important, and it's just to create an online archive for people to go and look at it and learn. What we people come here, what they have to go through. That's why I want to do this project. And I think because, as you said earlier, Cambodia society is quite small in the UK, and it has not been done before. So we want to do this and keep it as a archive online. Okay?
Well, I hope it has the impact that you wanted it to have.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you very much.
It's okay, thank you.